Raptor Center, and with me we have our American Kestrel named Belle. Today we are going to be working on enrichment and making enrichment objects for our birds. Belle here is going to be the judge of how this enrichment turns out and whether or not it's high quality enough for her. So here at the Raptor Center we do a lot of different enrichment items. So we have physical items that I'm going to show you guys how to make so you can make it right in your very own homes. Enrichment doesn't have to be a physical object either though. Enrichment can be taking birds for a walk, or as some of you may have watched, we did an episode with Bishi on her playground, and that's always a lot of fun. That's a great enrichment activity. And even just being in this room is enriching for Belle. Belle hasn't been in this room before, and so she's checking everything out, looking at all the new things that she could potentially hop on. If she wants to fly to one of the perching around me, she can do that, or she can just sit here and act all fluffy. So what we have are some different recyclable objects, and instead of recycling them, we're simply repurposing all of our enrichment things. So for example, at home, you can take simple newspaper and crush it into a ball. Now this may not seem like the most exciting enrichment object, but one of our great horned owls loves paper balls and he will shred it all day long. So what do you think, Belle? Do you like paper balls? She doesn't seem too interested in the paper ball. We'll set it down here and see if she's interested in it later. She may just check it out. Even if our birds don't hop down to the objects right away, it gives them something new to look at, and if they decide not to interact with it, that even shows that the enrichment is working. She's thinking about something new, and that's what enrichment is supposed to do, stimulate our birds both mentally and physically. Enrichment should also highlight natural behaviors. So, like with the example with our great horned owl, when we throw in a paper ball with him, he jumps to it right away and he will start shredding it. And shredding it is a natural behavior because out in the wild, when these guys catch their own food, they shred that food. So that shredding behavior is a natural behavior that we like to encourage. Since she wasn't so interested in this paper ball, we're going to try something else. Now, we have a brown paper bag, and something that we can do with it is open it, take a simple pair of scissors, and cut some holes in the paper bag. And you can choose random spots to put it in. It doesn't really matter too much. Watch your fingers. And after the paper bag has holes in it, all you do is find tissue paper you have laying around, or even just construction paper. And you can just fold it and manipulate it, and you're going to put it in the bag and then stick it through one of the holes. So what birds are going to do is you throw this in with them, and they're going to look at all the different things that they can pull at, that they can tug at, that they can shred. With our crows and our ravens, we'll often throw these bags in with them, and they have little treats like blueberries and walnuts, mealworms, and so once they get done shredding, they find a nice little surprise in there.
What kind of falcon is she?
So this is an American Kestrel. She is the most common type of kestrel, or most common type of falcon that you can find in this area. A lot of people have seen kestrels before out in the wild, but they don't necessarily realize that it's a raptor because of how small they are. But as you can see, she still has those really powerful, strong feet that kind of indicate that she eats meat and that she is a raptor. All right, so now that we got some tissue paper sticking out, are you interested in hopping on that at all, Miss Belle? No, she's just looking at me like you're crazy. That doesn't look fun at all. So some other things that you guys can do at home is make a paper chain. Paper chains are a lot of fun. Our spectacled owl loves paper chains. And all you have to do is cut construction paper into strips and use washable glue. So the glue that you give your kids in elementary school, to glue the strips together and make a chain. Again, our spectacled owl loves these. We'll see how Belle feels about these. Can I just put that on your perch? Again, she's like, no, thank you. That is in my space. Nothing really seems to be intriguing Belle today, which is just fine. I happen to know what Belle's favorite enrichment items are, and that usually involves food. So enrichment can just involve random objects, but sometimes in order to entice our birds, we do have to implement some food. So she's gonna take that. She's like, that is mine. Thank you very much. So I just gave her a quail wing. There's not a whole lot of meat on that. It's just a lot of feathers. And so this is going to allow her to pluck all the feathers off of that wing to get the nice little tidbits of meat that are on there. So she's gonna demonstrate that for you guys. Just like how we don't eat feathers with our chicken, Belle here does not like feathers with her bird as well. So she's gonna pluck off as many of the feathers off as she can to try and get to that meat.
Raptors are known for their strong grip. Does she have a strong grip?
She does have a really strong grip. Even though her feet are tiny, she does have really strong grip to catch birds and insects right out of the sky. If you guys want to help our birds out, you can simply do these enrichment activities for our birds. When you do it at home, simply find different objects. You can find egg cartons, you can find boxes, and we have different items that you can make for our birds. Once this whole quarantine is over and we open to the public, we encourage you guys to bring the objects that you make to our center. We would love to see what you guys make. And again, once we reopen, feel free to bring any enrichment objects that you make at home to our center and donate it to our birds. We do only have 5 staff members for 90 birds. That is a lot of birds to take care of. And we do run out of enrichment really quickly. So any donation of enrichment would be really appreciated. Starting next week, we will have enrichment worksheets that you guys can pull up yourselves, and it gives step-by-step instructions on how to make different enrichment items. And you can do something as simple as making the paper balls, or you can make something a little bit more complicated, like a feeder. And the feeder allows them to, so the feeder, you put food in here and they have to rummage around through the leaves, through the paper, and try and find their food. Again, the crows and the ravens enjoy this. It gives them something to think about and something to find. If you guys have paper towel tubes and toilet paper tubes, you can do different things like stick sticks through them. You can get super creative and make little animals with it. Again, you guys can just use the washable glue sticks to glue things. You can use paper mache. The only thing we ask is that you don't use tape. Anything sticky we want you to get rid of on the boxes, just in case the bird were to accidentally swallow it. Tape isn't good for the birds. So anything with paper and cardboard is really good for the birds, and it gives them something to do.
Why is her tail bobbing so much?
Why is her tail bobbing so much? That is just a sign that she's giving us that she is comfortable in the room, that she's pretty content. If she were to sit still like a statue, that would tell me that she's nervous. But since she's bobbing her tail, she's bobbing her head, she's really fluffy, that tells me that she's pretty content right now and is enjoying her quail wing.
How old is she?
Belle is 2 years old. to 8 years old. These guys are smaller birds, so they do get preyed upon by bigger birds. So their lifespan out in the wild isn't as long as the bigger raptors. Here at the center, though, we can usually double to triple the wild lifespans, simply because they get fed every single day, they have a roof over their head, and they have the unlimited healthcare plan at our rehab center. So if they do get sick, our vet can take care of them right away.
Do most of your birds come in because they're injured?
That is a really good question. So we do get birds that come in from the wild and they're brought to our rehab center. And the goal of the rehab team is to make those birds 100% better to be released back into the wild. If for whatever reason they can't be released, we see if they would be a good candidate to be an ambassador for their species like Belle here. So we do get some birds from the wild, but we also get some birds that were raised for education at different zoos and raptor centers, and those birds are really successful here as well. So we do a little bit of both and try and find the best ambassadors for their species.
Does Belle have a mate?
Does Belle have a mate? So Belle is one of our education birds. She lives by herself and she would prefer it that way. These guys are pretty solitary and they would rather be left alone. So she lives by herself, does not have a mate, and is not looking for a mate. As you can see, she is getting pretty far on that quail wing. And this again is good enrichment for her. It's giving her something to do. This is something she would do out in the wild, and she's showing off how strong her beak and talons are as she's ripping apart this quail wing.
Can enrichment be used for other animals?
Ooh, can enrichment be used for other animals? Yes. There is different types of enrichment for different types of animals. So we have a feeder for our birds, and there is a feeder for dogs that make them slow down while they're eating, and it challenges them a little bit more. We use kongs the same way dogs use kongs. We'll shove food in a kong, and the birds have to fish it out of the kong just like dogs do. For cats, running around and climbing on climbing posts is really good enrichment for them. Lasers is always entertaining for cats. So every bird, every human needs enrichment. We all just need it in different ways. And sometimes we need different incentives, right? Just like Belle needed food as an incentive to do her enrichment, my boyfriend, when we go for walks, we have to have ice cream as an incentive to go for walks as our enrichment. So everything is a little bit different for every individual.
Hadley says she has the same name as a princess.
Hi Hadley. And again, with the enrichment items, we will post worksheets on them, and that gives enrichment to humans to do as well. So if you guys are looking for something to do as a family or as an individual, and you have recyclables laying around, we do have options for different types of papers and egg cartons for you guys to do and help our birds out once we open again. Alrighty, so as she's wrapping up, I think we're gonna wrap up as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. Tomorrow we do not have a live stream, but there will be a video posted and you don't want to miss it. So come check us out again tomorrow at 11 to watch another cool video.